Can you guys hear this music? It's gonna be May. I don't know if you know, but it's May 1st, everybody, and it's time to kick off happy hour. It is May the 1st, but it's over. And it's week 6, but it's over. And that means it's the weekend. Cheers, guys. Happy hour. Enjoy a little Justin Timberlake and NSYNC while we let folks get in the room. I love it. Folks are already jumping in here. You guys know the drill. Let me know where you are, what you're drinking. 3 stars if it's your first time. Let's give some shout outs. Mark in the house. Sarah in San Antonio drinking Loire Valley Rosé. Paul, what is up? I'm glad you can hear it all the way from Fort Myers, Florida. Happy Friday, Lisa. Scott, it is bourbon tonight. Catherine, it is almost Cinco de Mayo. I hear you. I ordered from a local establishment today my pre-order for Cinco de Mayo, and I cannot wait to go pick it up on Tuesday. We're going to have a little celebration at happy hour. It's going to be May, guys. It is May. It's May 1st, and it is over. Week 6 is over. Drop into the comments. You guys know what to do. Lee wants to know what I'm drinking today, guys. I am having some Carbonic Tannat, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. It's a special wine. Cheers, Deborah from Lubbock. And here's the beat. It's gonna be me. Boom. Guys, I've been listening to this song all day, and I'm not sorry about it. Gosh, this wine is tasting so good right now. Such good acidity. It's exactly what I want to be drinking on a sunny 90-degree day in West Austin. Summer is basically here. What's up, Leah, in South Austin with St. Arnold's Lawnmower? We're still going to give folks 1 or 2 more minutes to get in here before we get kicked off. We've got some awesome special guests. We're going to have a pretty sweet wine nerd section today, and maybe even a new game that I'm going to introduce to you at the end of today's episode. What is up, Janice from Chicago? Drinking pale ale. I love it. Kelsey in South Austin, good to see you there as well. Lynn, happy Friday in San Antonio. And I do not need Hootie and the Blowfish in my life right now. I know that you love Hootie and the Blowfish. I'm good with some NSYNC, cuz guess what? Gonna be May. All right, guys. Alexa's prompting me here by ending my song, which means we need to bring up some of our special guests today. First up, we're going to go to what looks like at the High Estate. Catherine, are you out at the High Estate today?
I am. Well, no, I'm not. I'm in High, but I'm at home.
You're in High. Okay. Gotcha. Your trees make it look like you're on the estate right now.
No. I'm just blessed to have a home that has similar trees.
It's beautiful. Well, so you're in High, and what are you drinking today?
Drinking some Sauvignon Blanc from California. I told you before, but I sadly don't have very much William Chris at home. We just
drink it all.
Leave it there. I know. Save it for our guests.
I love that. Well, it is good to see your face. I miss being out in High and seeing you guys in person. I know that you are working double time. You're nice enough to hop on happy hour to say hi to everybody today. And I know you've got a virtual tasting with Chris coming up tomorrow. So busy virtual tasting and drinking for you in the next couple of hours. I guess next 24 hours.
Yeah. Luckily, it's all fun. It's all things I love to do. So it's good.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Cheers to you. Happy hour. We'll come back and see you in a little bit. Next up, we are going to go across Austin to another William Chris team member. Savannah, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. So last time I was on here, I got called out for not doing the pump. So whoop whoop. But I'm in South Austin. I'm kind of the same place as Dee, and I am drinking this vodka soda can. It looks a lot bigger than it is, I promise. It's a lot smaller. But it is black cherry flavored.
Hey, you know what? I love that. And I love that you are not afraid to admit that you're drinking like a vodka flavored drink going on, whatever is happening in your world. Because that's the whole vibe about this happy hour, guys. I don't know if y'all heard the news, but we got shouted out in food and wine, guys. This happy hour that you guys have been hanging out with us for 6 weeks was featured in food and wine. So shout out to all of our fans. Shout out to folks really just living that vibe that we want to put something in our glass. Doesn't matter what it is. Log on and connect with each other to mark the end of our workday. Guys, we've done something special, and I'm just stoked to be a part of it. And so that's so much in the spirit, Savannah. Like, it doesn't matter what you're drinking. We just want to connect and hang out. So cheers to you, friend.
Cheers.
Gosh, I don't want to drink too much of this tonight. It's going down so fast. All right, guys, we have a very special guest today. We're going to check in with him real quick just to see where he is and what he's drinking before we bring him back for the Wine Nerd segment. So without further ado, Alex, what's up, my man?
What's going on, everybody? How are we today? Happy May Day. I'm happy to have it. Happy Labor Day for my international friends that are across the seas right now in Spain or wherever it might be.
Okay, I didn't know it was Labor Day other places.
It is Labor Day. I was just speaking with some friends in Spain, and they turned me on to letting me know that. So I think I might have just gotten booted.
Nope, You're good, man. We can still see you and hear you.
I don't know where you went. I lost you. I feel like I'm setting up like
we'll come back to you, Alex. It's totally fine. We'll bring you back for the Wine Nerd section. We'll have you figured out. No more technical difficulties we have to deal with because he's going to lead our Wine Nerd section for today, and it's going to be a little bit nerdy, and I'm kind of not sorry about that because I'm super stoked to talk about carbonic maceration. Let's say hi to a few more folks before I jump in and share what wine I'm drinking today. Brian, we will do our best to share that article link where it got featured. Mike, drinking some Vignoble Ferret Rosé de Presse Cab Sauv. Wow, that's a mouthful. I love it. Lynn drinking a grapefruit sparkling water with grapefruit vodka. Hey, I love the double grapefruit. I'm a big fan of the lime sparkling water with the grapefruit vodka. It's my kind of like summer go-to. Thanks, Eric, for the congrats. It's been a team and community effort. This has been a really special community to hang out with every day, and we are just stoked to be a part of it. Okay, guys, it is time for me to share what I am drinking. So let me see if I can pull off this little comment at the bottom so it's not in the way of the awesome label that I need to show you, because this wine has a very special label. Some of you might have never, even if you're a longtime William Chris drinker and fan, you might not have ever seen this wine before, and I'm so stoked to finally get to share it widely with our people. So if you'll notice, and you can read the script, it says Tony's Carbonic Tannat, and it's got our little logo, our Vine logo. So guys, this is the 2018, and I can show you the back label because it has the description on the back. This is our 2018 high estate wild fermentation Carbonic Tannat. It's called Tony's Tannat because Tony's the name of our winemaker, and we got to name it after him. But we refer to it as the Carbonic Tannat because it goes through carbonic maceration. And we're not going to get too nerdy and talk about that right now because Alex is going to school us on that. And so I want to make sure that I don't steal that thunder, and we wait for that. But let's talk about what it smells like and tastes like. Guys, this is like strawberry jelly, strawberry jam, and flowers. Like, seriously, like straight from a Smucker's bottle. Tart on the palate, goes like raspberry world, blueberry world. Wow, so much acid, guys. This is an acid trip of a wine. I'm trying to talk to you, and I'm like slurping up my saliva, wiping it off my face. I love when you can get a grape like Tannat that is traditionally really harsh and intense and full of tannin. That's why it's called Tannat. To taste and feel like this does. This is a approachable, fresh, fruit-driven, acid-driven wine that goes down way too easily. And And Tannat, you guys know this. If you drink William Chris wine, our Tannat wines, they are big and burly and strong and deeply colored. And this wine is almost the stark opposite. A big reason why this Tannat tastes like the way it does is because we did carbonic maceration. We also aged this in amphora. Guys, this went into clay amphora. So that's also another layer of why this wine tastes the way it does. It has almost a waxy texture to it, but almost no tannin. The tannin is very light, which again is so unique because Tannat is normally like rip your face off with tannin. You've got to have a big chunk of meat, and you don't actually get that in this wine. Pairing suggestion, asks Chris. I want kind of like the Cinsault we talked about yesterday. I want stuff that's fresh. I want stuff that's off the grill. So I'm thinking chicken fajitas. I do beer can chicken also with this. I like when you can take kind of the smokiness of the grill and the kind of maybe even like grill effect that you get on meats and bread or vegetables, a little bit of that char with these kind of really light, fresh fruited wines. I think those kinds of pairs for me are just so delicious. So I'm sticking hardcore with what we should be cooking right now. Things on the grill. You're gonna get a little char. I'm all about it. I want to say one of the big differences between this and the Cinsault that we had yesterday, it has even more of a pronounced floral character to me, much more violet driven, and a bit of earthiness here. Kind of headed towards that like forest floor notes, kind of like crushed dried leaves and maybe not quite mushroomy, but like definitely earthy in nature. But is, I would say, even more intense in fruit. So we've got like sour raspberry and blueberry here, and the intensity level is high. Whereas the Cinsault yesterday was more like maybe medium intensity. But I think for this, it's more like medium plus, like super extreme intensity. It's gonna hit you with the aromatics and the flavors. And this is stupid, guys. Like I open this and I just want to drink the whole bottle. It's a problem. It's Friday. That might end up happening. I'm not going to apologize. Okay. So I want to bring back my boy, Alex. We are going to talk a little bit nerdy to you today. I hope you're stoked for that. Alex, while I'm about to drop a little question in the comments so folks can send us their questions, let us know, because we didn't get to it earlier, where are you located and what are you drinking right now?
All right, y'all. Well, I'm back and I've got all the technical difficulties worked out. That being said, I am in South Austin, down just above the Manchac area, right off of Menchaca, hanging out beneath William Cannon in my lovely 78745. Represent if you're part of my neighborhood. I am sipping on a piece of carbonic that's a lot like what the William Chris is doing. It's complex, but still so snackable that it almost feels like you should rob the cabinet when you drink it. This is going to be Reginald. So Reggie, there we go. Reggie is from St. Reginald's Parish, based out of Willamette Valley. If you guys aren't familiar, St. Reginald's is basically a party in a bottle with everything they do. The name coming from the New Orleans region where the winemaker himself used to run away to smoke cigarettes and play hot jazzy tunes. As you can see on the back, this guy sees 40 days of carbonic maceration plus a 14-day Jage. I Love Lucy foot stomping of 92% Pinot Noir and 8% Pinot Gris. What's that? A white grape blended into a predominantly red wine? That is correct. A little Cote Rôtie inspiration there. And this wine is completely unadjusted aside from a small amount of SO2 bottled. That 18 ppm stands for parts per million. So that's a big, hotly contested subject matter about if a wine has sulfur or not. So is it sans soif or not? To me, I have principles and views on it myself, a lot leaning to the sense that if it's so low in parts per million that it almost ferments entirely out like 18 would, it for all intents and purposes is a sans soif wine, as aka without sulfur, because the sulfur does not exist post the time that you get that bottle. So if it's not in the bottle, was it ever really there? You know, the question of the ghosts. As he mentioned, I threw on my acid glasses because, I mean, we're both sipping on acid rippers and acid trips, feeling like Ken Casey over here with my electric Kool-Aid, and that's what I have inside this delicious glass.
Well, cheers to you, sir. Happy
Cheers
hour.
to you, brother. And everybody out there, happy hour. Happy safety, happy celebration. And let's enjoy some juice and learn a bit about this nerdy little subject.
I love it. I'm going to give you a more proper introduction to let folks know where you are and what you're doing. So Alex is another incredible integral member of our Austin Somm community. Very lucky to call him a friend and been able to share bottles with him and learn from him. That's one of the things I love about our community is everybody is just so giving and generous with their time and willing to like answer your questions when you're obnoxious and you ask the same thing 10 times. We all generally love to share and learn together, and Alex is definitely no different. I've learned a ton from him, and so thankful to have him in our community. Also thankful for his, let's just call giant thumbprint, footprint, handprint, his influence on building a new program at Aviary since they relaunched a few years back. So an incredible wine program at Aviary. What do you guys, Aviary Wine and Kitchen? Is that the proper name?
That is the full.
So Alex has a badass program over there. He's really big into music and has like organized the menu at Aviary in like styles of musicians and like vibes. So one of the things I love about Alex and his approach to wine is him just, and the way he talks about it and presents it is so approachable. It's not snooty. He's not trying to make anybody feel stupid. He's trying to make it approachable and easy to understand. Alex, I'm done trying to give your entire story away. I would love to know, where are you originally from and how did your wine journey get started?
So I am a Texan through and through in terms of bloodline. On my dad's side, I am a Sons of the Brothers of Texas. We've been established in Texas since before 1850, coming straight over, hitting the United States from the southern states, but migrating immediately into northern Texas and winding up settling in Amarillo. On my mom's side, she's a naval brat growing up all over the Northeast. So I was born in Dallas, but then after a couple different flip-flops, we wound up landing in Philadelphia and growing up just outside of Philadelphia proper. My education comes from Temple University. Go Owls, represent. So come from Temple University, where I studied creative writing with a minor in acting and literature. But what happened was, which was truly interesting, is that while I was getting this degree and staving off the potential of horrific student loans, I was working entirely in fine dining. I've had 2 jobs in my life outside of the restaurant industry. I started at the age of 12 working for some friends of the family's mom and pop shop, illegally bussing tables and washing dishes. And then from there, it has always been my focus and my drive. So I moved into the city for college. First real job exposed to wine was with a lovely little French chef known as Georges Perrier at Le Bec Fin. I was a nothing little snot-nosed kid just trying to figure out how to make the most money possible off these people. And, you know, at that point, wine was not about understanding and drinking as much as it was memorization and price points. So I was memorizing all of these Firth Gros de Bordeaux, these Premier Cru Burgundy producers, looking at the price, figuring out a little backstory, a little salesmanship, and then trying to get that top dollar bottle on the table. But what was fortunate about this was I had a somm that really saw through my salesmanship into the fact that he knew that if I drank it and learned it to a deeper and more connective tissue, that I would be, in his opinion, an unstoppable force, and he would be able to herald me as his own little understudy or underling. Fast forward to him throwing me bottles nightly, as long as I came back with due diligent note-taking and intelligence about the wines. And that's kind of how it all got started. I bounced around the Philadelphia wine scene for a while in fine dining, but I think that when wine took like a symbiotic relationship to me was when I moved abroad and studied in Rome. Temple University, again, an amazing college and amazing university, has satellite campuses all over the world. But their satellite campus in Rome is where I chose to go. And while there, was fortunate enough that on Medaglia d'Oro, the small strip that I lived on just down from Vatican Hill, there was a wine shop run by a gentleman named Giuseppe. And I would go to Giuseppe with, €2, €7, €8, and be like, hey, let me get 2 bottles. And then he'd look at it and kind of discuss it with me. And then it became much like my former somm, where if I came back with notes, 5 things that I smelled, 5 things that I tasted, the producer, the region, and the variety all documented, then he would throw me a little bit of discount on every bottle I consumed. And that's where really I just began to find that wine combines so much of what I was leaning into. It combined my ability and affinity for creative writing. It leaned into my romanticism and my love for literature. It totally played in my historic bone that just caught me by surprise and fascinated by all of the, unique things that have happened to this world to shape it into what it is now. And then on top of that, it created a super highway to which I could travel the world with ease. I mean, you want a vein of the world, the wine universe actually runs throughout the entirety of it. So you can get anywhere in this globe focusing on wine and indulging in the wine industry. And that really, really resonated with me. So I came home about a few years after staying in Philadelphia and cutting my teeth at a few institutions, the most prominent being Tria, a 3-time James Beard Award winner for service and education. That is a wine, cheese, and beer celebrated trifecta fermentables. I moved down to Austin as just a need for a change of pace and a bitter loathing for the cold winters that Philadelphia would experience. And I couldn't believe what I'd found. I thought, okay, this is a small pond. I can make a big splash really quickly. And when you roll into this town in 2012 and discover that not only are there 2 master somms here, but a bevy of people that are all just on the cusp of achieving it as well. And there is so much fascination and intrigue about wine. There's so much fun playfulness about it that you can really embrace the keep Austin weird, but parlay it into your wine world. I knew that I'd found a perfect space for me and a really great home. So I started my time with Lasco Enterprises. For those of you in Houston, you might know them for the Tasting Room. For those of you in other parts of Texas, you might know them for Max's Wine Dive. And I joined into the leadership and development team. I spent about 3 years with Lasco Enterprises, opening 11 concepts for them, some both in Texas, Chicago. We ended up in Atlanta. We ended up in Denver. And it was really an amazing experience because I got to spread my very casual, comfortable, and as Dee said, approachable way about wine to a bevy of kids that were working with a motto of fried chicken and champagne. Why the hell not? Remove the intimidation, remove the pomp and circumstance, and just have fun with this juice that literally is made by farmers for friends and family. And that friends and family might extend across the globe, but that's really what it all boils down to. So to teach people that with a rock and roll attitude and just kind of a playful mindset was so much fun.
Dude, I love that about your story and how it, like, all of those things contributed to kind of where you are and your posture towards wine today. And I feel like this kind of nerdy subject we're going to touch on today actually is directly in line with that. Like the whole carbonic maceration approach to wine really does speak to, like, let's not be snooty about it. Let's make something that's like freaking poundable. And so let's actually dive into that. Guys, we're going to get kind of nerdy here. So if you haven't been paying attention, you've just been kicking back and like drinking straight from the bottle, good on you. I am too. But maybe you want to like sit up, zoom in, listen, because we're about to get kind of nerdy. And it might take a little bit more brain cells than you've been using thus far. So first of all, we've used the word carbonic, and they see it on the screen there, carbonic maceration. Let's talk about first, where does that name come from? What's the definition of carbonic maceration before we maybe jump into like how we do it and what it makes in a wine?
All right, man. Well, I think, wait, do you one more time? Let me hear that one more time. Like, where do we want to start?
Definition, what is carbonic maceration?
All right, so carbonic maceration, guys, is a really super nerdy, geeky thing, as Dee might have mentioned, but also before, one good turn deserves another. Carbonic maceration is basically taking your grapes, right? So the initial run of anything is to press grapes. We have to extract that juice. And that pressing can come through a little bit of foot stomping, as we mentioned earlier, a balloon that's inflated to squeeze the grapes, a pneumatic press that comes down and actually pushes on them to extract their juice. But we have to get that juice out, right? Otherwise, we can't begin to make wine. In a carbonic maceration setting, you actually don't use any press at all. You take all of these grapes and these clusters and you throw them into an anaerobic environment. So that means an environment completely removed of oxygen. That environment is then filled with CO2, which is basically, as you know, from your periodic table, just a little bit of an inert gas that works beautifully with these grapes, because what it does is it forces on an intercellular level, basically a stimulus. So if there's no oxygen in there and there's only this carbon dioxide inside of this tank with these grapes, they begin to get a little fidgety on the inside. Think of it as like somebody pumping Roomba music directly into the grape skins themselves and inside to the actual juice. And what that does is it gets them shaken. Because there's no way to extract or expel the juice and begin fermentation, they begin actually fermenting within their own skin. So the fermentation begins inside. And what happens is, as that fermentation begins inside, the simple equation, sugar plus yeast equals alcohol and CO2, begins to be encapsulated entirely inside that grape. When you throw a party that's too much fun, there's too much dancing, there's too much celebration, the boogie is too deep, you got to burst out into the streets, right? So that's exactly what happens inside of these grapes. The gravity and weight of the alcohol actually causes the grape skins to burst, a la, think Scan back in the day, the atom, or just, and then all of a sudden, pow, it bursts out. That's exactly what happens with the grape varieties themselves. These grapes actually begin to burst or break through, and the juice begins to spill out. Now, what does this do? Obviously, the science is kind of fun and funky, but what does that equate to in the wine itself? What this does is basically makes Party in the USA easy drinking, fun, playful juice. It strips a lot of the more complex and kind of terroir-driven character of the wine, which some people say is part of the problem with carbonic maceration and why it isn't necessarily complex, but it does make very approachable, kind of chuggable juice. Y'all might have heard the term glue glue, and this is glue glue defined in my opinion. Glue glue is kind of a quick little go-to coin of phrase that says, let's drink and let's drink fun and let's drink fast without overly thinking about it, but still celebrating it. And that's what I think carbonic maceration is really focused on. It's about the celebration of juice more than the deep study and intensive details and character that juice sometimes might produce in traditional fermentation practices. I'm going to jump in here
before you get too nerdy, because I think you just hit a really important point here that I want to bring up. Like, even if everybody forgets all this crazy scientific stuff that we're throwing at them about anaerobic environments and intercellular fermentation and all that kind of stuff, at the end of the day, what would you say carbonic maceration equals in a wine?
It equals unadulterated, playful fun. That is exactly what it equals.
I love that. And if like you guys don't remember anything else about the nerdery today, like remember what Alex just said there. Say it one more time. It equals what?
Unadulterated, playful fun. Carbonic maceration is a pop song. It is a top 100 pop song. You're going to sing it in your car. You're going to blast it. You're going to dance to it because you can't not. But at the same time, you know, you're not going to go bragging to your friends all the time about all of these pop songs you know every single word to. But deep inside, you know every single word. And when it comes on, you can't not dance. You know what I mean? And so with dereferencing the music thing, I thought it was easiest just to bring it back for y'all, because what can we all unite around? We can unite around good tunes and good times.
Yep. I'm all about this. And I think like one of the things that really turned me on to carbonic, for whatever reason, since I really started to take wine seriously and study it, I've been really attracted to aromatic wines. And I really feel like one of the incredible things that carbonic maceration tends to bring to wine is a really lifted aromatic profile. So wines have a tendency to more jump out of the glass at you. Would you agree?
Oh, through and through, man. I think that the nose, while the complexity in terms of the actual palate isn't always there, the nose is just such a wash of florals and fruit that it's undeniable. I mean, to me, currently when I'm drinking this St. Reginald's Parish, guys, I feel like I'm laying naked in a field of violets while being hand-fed blackberries. I mean, what better visual could you imagine? You just are in a field of violets in the total nude while somebody's just dropping blackberries in your gullet. Talk about a godly complex. That's wondrous.
I'm there for it. I'm totally down with the clothing optional situation. The breeze is quite nice out today, and I would love to be drinking wine. Okay, dude, we've really nerded out for these folks talking about intercellular. I'm going to, how about this? I want you to tell me, if I want to seek out carbonic maceration wines, what are a couple of examples that I can go try so I can experience this unadulterated, playful, fun situation?
All right, y'all. So carbonic maceration really has achieved its legacy through the region of Beaujolais. Beaujolais, whether they're utilizing semi-carbonic, which, as the name would infer, it's partial carbonic maceration with traditional maceration married together, or 100% carbonic maceration. So Beaujolais is your number one go-to. The one little thing that I want to mention about why carbonic's so perfect to talk about in the Texas climate is because carbonic is so enhanced by the slight chill. I know that we're not talking about the big chill. We don't need to drop any keys in a bowl before we walk into the party, but we do need to talk about that slight chill because it takes the edge off. Carbonic preserves a lot of the vibrancy in a wine, a lot of electrified boogaloo kind of components of the grape itself. By nature, wine grapes are extremely high in acid. So by preserving that, sometimes it'd be a little shocky, sometimes a little overly sour and tart. That slight chill will mitigate that, allowing more of the beauty and kind of elegance to shine through. So a slight chill is wonderful when it's 110 degrees, but you still want some red fruit depth in your wines, especially when you're living down in the state of Texas. But Beaujolais is your go-to. However, don't let Beaujolais be the only beacon for seeking out carbonic. Right now, as William Chris proved, there are so many people in the domestic regions that are producing carbonic wine. You can look to Martha Stoumen for a little bit of carbonic fun. I know that you've also got the people over at Broc Cellars playing around with some carbonic experimentation. You've got a lot of these new pioneers of low intervention wines in the United States really trying to show how carbonic works and how it benefits different varieties. While traditionally Gamay is the champion variety, we're seeing carbonic Zinfandels, we're seeing carbonic, I've seen a carbonic Cabernet Sauvignon. It's getting wild. And Carbonic Tannat, as Dee said, take an aggressively brutal and sometimes brooding grape and then flip it on its head, put it in drag, and show that it can also play Tu Wong Fu just like Patrick Swayze did. That's the best part. It's about versatility and experimentation like a winemaker should. So look to Beaujolais, as I mentioned, but don't hesitate to look to your own little regions, California, Oregon, Washington, as well as Texas, to see people playing around with carbonic to lighten the mood and bring the party.
I love that, dude, and I appreciate those recommendations. I labeled it regions in the comments, guys. Some of those are names of producers, so sorry about that. Check out Martha Stoumen, Broc Cellars. Beaujolais is the region in France where this kind of took off, and they have a very strong reputation for carbonic maceration. St. Reginald Parish is actually the producer that Alex is drinking today. And then, of course, guys, we haven't actually offered this straight up in the tasting room unless you specially asked for it and knew about it. We've definitely never had it in our wine shop, and you guys are lucky because you're watching today. We put this Carbonic Tannat and what little bit we have left up in our wine shop on the website. So go take advantage of that today before it's all gone. This stuff is crushable, and it's like no other Tannat we've ever made. We harvested this whole cluster off of our high estate. We walked it over across the property, literally across the parking lot. We jammed it in layers with dry ice inside of an amphora pot. Okay, so whole cluster layered with dry ice, amphora pot, no added yeast. So this is ambient yeast fermented. It went through carbonic maceration because that dry ice gives off CO2 and it takes all the oxygen out. Like Alex said, it goes through all those crazy nerdy things we won't rehash and becomes this amazing, beautiful wine. It spent about 4 months total in that amphora, and it is so good. And it's an 18, so it's even got a little bit of age, and it's honestly developed a little. It's got a little more earthy savoriness to it than it did when it first came out, and it is so good right now. So take advantage of that, guys. We're going to transition now. Alex, I told you I was going to do like a Spitfire. I think a lot of folks always want to know from other wine professionals, other wines they should be thinking about. But first, we have to know about you a little bit more. So we're going to do a quick 10-question quick fire, real quick answer. First thing off the top of your head. Number one, sparkling or still?
Ooh, damn, that's dirty. That's like telling your favorite kid who he is. You're not supposed to do that. Still. I think I got to say still.
Still. Okay, white or red?
Orange.
Ooh, he goes with the non-answer. I love it. You know, we call that cheating here. Port or Madeira?
Madeira all day. New Year's Eve, go to the island of Madeira. Greatest celebration on the face of the planet, people. Go.
2 years ago, bro. It was incredible. I totally agree with that. If you ever get to spend 2 years on Madeira, it's life-changing. Number 4, Napa or Sonoma?
Napa, because my brother used to work at Bouchon. Quick plug, now a private chef out in Maui. Can cook anything you need should you need him. But after time in Bouchon and working at the French Laundry Garden, there's something about Napa that's so near and dear to the heart.
Okay, fair. Cab or Syrah?
Oh, Syrah all day. Come on, Southern Rhone, people.
Yeah,
I
knew that was going to be your answer. That's a softball toss. Aged wine or young wine?
Young carbonic, aged otherwise.
Okay. Rosé or chilled light red?
So I throw a massive rosé banger every year that's filled with nothing but large format rosés. But I gotta say, honestly, rosé.
Okay, I'm kind of with you on that one. I've been hitting the chilled light reds, and I'm kind of craving rosé right now. Nebbiolo or Pinot Noir?
Oh, dude, these are brutal. What are you doing to me?
That's the point. You gotta pick.
Tar and Rose is Nebbiolo.
Nebbiolo. Okay, Chardonnay or Riesling?
Oh, Riesling. Holler at my boys. Whether it's Prune, whether it's Von Winning, or the #1 Willie Schaefer. Highly recommend, if you ever get a chance, seek out all of Willie Schaefer's wines. They literally are the ambrosia of the gods.
I don't know if you were at TechSom a few years back. We got to do a vertical with Dr. Lewison, and man, that totally, it crushed me. I am never turning away from aged Riesling. It's so incredible. That is all we had for the quick fire. Folks want to know, what is a region or style of wine that you think folks are sleeping on right now that they need to go seek out?
All right, guys. So twofold answer. I am a man who talks a lot, so I'm going to throw this out fast. First one, Chile. Go to Chile and start experiencing what's going on. And not necessarily the traditional Chile that you think of, like Pancho y Toro and so forth like that, the bottom of the grocery store rung. No, you need to be looking at Itata Valley, a little bit of Biobío, which is southern Chile, getting closer to Antarctica, specifically focusing on the indigenous variety of País, also known as Mison, or Listón Negro if you're over in the Canary Islands. País is such a cool, funky grape that really just takes on the interpretation of both the land as well as the winemaker themselves. It lends itself to carbonic. It lends itself to amphora. It lends itself to quick flash barrel aging. It doesn't matter. It also does tremendous. They do tremendous Cinsault and really cool Carignans. Muscat de Alexandria, probably one of the most aromatic whites in the world, is really cool there. They're working with sparkling. Chile. Other than that, guys, it's time to look to the past. We came from one world and one world specifically. We always think of the old world, but don't forget there's an ancient world prior to that. That means Lebanon. That means Morocco. That means Israel. That means Syria. That means the part of the world that started before everybody else caught wind and the Phoenicians spread the sprawl of grapes. So look to those. Some names, Chateau Moussar and Messiah, based out of Lebanon. When you're looking in Morocco, look for Oulat Taleb. Alain Groyot, an amazing producer out of the Southern Rhone, has actually collabed with them and made a wine called Sirocco. Speaking of Syrah, that is legendary and breathtaking. Really, really cool stuff that will change the landscape. And because it's not notable and has no notoriety, super affordable for what it delivers.
Dude, you just spitting the knowledge today, and I love connecting with you because I feel like you always kind of got your finger on the pulse of like what's next up, what's under the radar still, and where can you find tons of value. And I feel like you just shared a ton. Guys, go write this stuff down. I mean, it's saved obviously in the Facebook comments, so you can come back to it, but like, you really want to go check it out. I've actually got some Moroccan Syrah at my house right now. Stoked to jump into that. Haven't tried it yet. Dude, thank you so much for being here. We have already run super long. I am not going to force a new game on you guys today, but no, I've got one lined up next week. Savannah and Catherine, I'm going to bring y'all back up to hear us out. I'm going to go over our 3 announcements that I always do, guys. It is, Sarah's like, my head is spinning. This has been Knowledge Central. It's time to drink, finish these bottles, and be outside and enjoy the weekend, guys. So I am not going to try and cram anything else at you, but you know I always bring it in my announcements, so you got to listen before you head out. Number 1, we all know Mother's Day is coming up, and I'm going to drop this in comments while I'm talking, okay? Number one, Mother's Day is coming up. We have got a 4-pack for $95, shipping included. Just go knock out your Mother's Day situation. Go send wine to all the moms in your life. Go get it done right now before the weekend starts, so then you can just not have to worry about it next week, okay? Go get it done. $95, 4 bottles, shipping included. Links right there in the comments. Number 2, the weather is so perfect for a drive to High right now, and you know you need to get out of the house. Go check out Curbside Pickup. We can do no contact curbside pickup for you. They'll let you know what's available. You can still grab Virtual Tasting Pack 7 that Catherine and Chris are going to be doing tomorrow at 4. So if you get out to the winery tomorrow before 4, go pick up Virtual Tasting Pack 7 and join us right here, Facebook Live, 4 o'clock tomorrow. Lastly, I've got a lineup for next week that you don't want to miss. Guys, we've now been featured in Food and Wine. Happy hour is a thing. It's an everyday thing. Bring your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Tell your friends. Hang out right here at 5 o'clock starting Monday. It's been a great week 6, and I can't wait to see you for week 7. Alex, I'm going to turn it over to you to cheers us out for the weekend. Who are we cheersing to today?
All right, guys. So today we're going to cheers to the artists and musicians all over our Texas that are displaced in this current time. These people are the ones that make music, the ones that make the soundtrack to our lives. And right now, with all the venues closed and no real means for them to perform or generate income, we need to cheer to them. We need to celebrate the fact that we get to drink and have such a good time drinking because of the tunes they provide. You know, as Willie once said, yesterday's wine makes everything fine. So let's all have a little time together. Cheers to those musicians and artists. If you know them, buy their works, play their tunes, and keep drinking, guys. We love y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Gin.
Thank you guys for being here, and we will see you on Monday.